The term originated in 1516 in the Venetian ghetto, an isolated plot of land in the Cannaregio district of Venice, where Venetian Jews were prescribed to live. However, the phenomenon itself appeared much earlier. Usually the Jews settled together on their own, rather than by compulsion. British historian Mary Smallwood has called that Delta quarter in Egyptian Alexandria, where Jews were relocated during the pogrom of 38, the first ghetto in history, and many historians agree with her. The first ghetto was created in Piotrków Trybunalski after the German invasion in 1939. The last ghetto to be liquidated was in Łódź, in August-September 1944. Researchers disagree about the purpose that the Nazis assigned to Jewish ghettos in Europe. Some argue that it was a deliberate move to exterminate the Jews by concentrating them in designated locations. Others believe that the wide variation in ghetto development and conditions suggests that the original purpose of the ghettos was to limit the influx of Jews. Before World War II, Poland and the Soviet Union were home to the largest number of Jews. Many ghettos were fenced, that is, surrounded by walls, but others, such as those in Będzin and Sosnowiec, were open, allowing Jews to move out and work in other areas. The largest ghetto was located in Warsaw, where over 400,000 Jews lived. Beginning in the summer of 1942, the Nazi authorities began deporting Jews en masse to death camps, and the following year they began liquidating the ghettos and deporting the remaining Jews. In Muslim countries, compact urban settlements of Jews existed until the 20th century, until the time of the mass emigration to Israel. Nowadays the term ghetto is sometimes used for areas of the city where national minorities are settled. Some historians compare Indian reservations to ghettos. An Indian reservation is an area in the United States, Canada, and South America governed by an Indian tribe. Nowadays, the word ghetto is often used to describe areas of U.S. cities inhabited by colored minorities, mostly African Americans, Puerto Ricans, Hispanics, etc. The generally accepted definition of a ghetto is communities belonging to a homogeneous race or ethnic group. In addition, a key feature that developed in the post-industrial era and continues to symbolize the demographics of American ghettos to this day is the prevalence of poverty. Poverty is the hallmark of the ghettos compared to other suburban or private neighborhoods. The high percentage of poverty is partly justified by migratory pressures that seek to limit social opportunities and inequalities in society. Urban areas in the United States can often be classified as black or white, with residents primarily united by belonging to the same racial group. 40 years after the era of the African American Civil Rights Struggle, 1955-1968, the United States remains for the most part a segregated society in which blacks and whites inhabit different neighborhoods with significantly different quality of life. Although the term ghetto is generally used to refer to a poor, culturally or racially homogeneous urban area, not all houses in African American ghettos are dilapidated and cheap, nor do all ghetto residents suffer from poverty. For many African Americans, the ghetto means home, the birthplace of authentic African American culture, a place of struggle and suffering for the right to be black in America. African American poet and playwright Langston Hughes describes life in the ghetto in his works Negro Ghetto and The Heart of Harlem. Playwright August Wilson also used the ghetto in his works Ma Rainey's Black Bottom and Fences, drawing on his experiences living in Pittsburgh's Black Ghetto. The quarterly journal The Geographical Review states that the degree of residential segregation of the black population is greater than that of any other ethnic group in the American population, but that blacks lack the political power necessary to exert control over improvements in health, education, and welfare. Scholars have been interested in studying African American ghettos precisely because of the low standard of living of residents and their exposure to social problems. American ghettos also face geographic and political barriers, and, as Doreen Massey emphasizes, Racial segregation in African American ghettos challenges America's democratic foundations.